As I was on my way in, I noticed some very angry religious people outside with big placards threatening us all with brimstone and pestilence and perdition for our sins. What they don't realize is we have Ricky.
I was an occultist for many years in Hollywood. I mean, I had every witchcraft thing you could possibly imagine in my house. I started hearing voices. It's crazy. Anyway, I've been saved by grace through faith and trusting in what Christ did. And I'm so grateful. But I wanted to reveal to you that these manifestations are very common. I was also a Reiki master. I could count my lineage back to the man that started it in Japan. I had the sacred symbols drawn on my hand. I've repented of all of that. Okay. I had supernatural ability to know things. It was just demons talking in my ear. I mean, they were just telling me stuff. I would see this in Reiki things too. All of us would lay our hands on someone and they feel good, but they would have weird tics. I think they're called kriyas in yoga, where they like jerk. There's ticking, or they have like, here's another one. Shh, shh, shh. Oh my God, shh, shh. It would be like the shh, shh sound. That's a manifestation of demonic.
As I was on my way in, I noticed some very angry religious people outside with big placards threatening us all with brimstone and pestilence and perdition for our sins. What they don't realize is we have Ricky. Five remarkable and talented women are nominated for Best Actress. And the Golden Globe goes to Meryl Streep.
Oh my God. I mean, this is such a thrill, but really, really embarrassing in a year that saw so many extraordinary performances by women in leading roles, by my friends, by people I don't know, by people that I am so inspired by. Oh, shh.
Here's another one. Shh, shh, shh. Oh my God, shh, shh. It would be like the shh, shh sound. That's a manifestation of demonic.
Oh, shh. It. Oh, my glasses. Oh, I'm going to have to remember my speech. Michelle Rooney. Gilda. My agent, Kevin Uvain, and God, Harvey Weinstein. The Punisher. Old Testament, I guess.
I just wish them peace.
Is there a tipping point for Idol for you when you have to go, look, I have to know by such and such a date, or it will hit me, or is a decision been made?
The decision is like this close to being made. Yeah.
Does it mean I should give up?
You should give up and
yeah,
go? You go for the exclusive, you mean?
No.
The decision is like this close to being made.
Will you sit down with Ted? And so I sat over with Ted Kennedy. He's sitting right next to me. Mm-hmm. And Ted and I are, he's just joking. He said, George, you're going to love this job. You're really good with money. We're going to send you out to all the state Democratic functions to raise money for the National Democratic Party. And he said, you're going to meet some real foxy ladies. And just then, my daughter walked in. Mm-hmm. Ted looked at her and he says, wow, I want to go to bed with that. I says, no, you don't, Ted. That's my daughter, and she's 14. And his response to me was, I don't care.
S Club 7 used to look after the Spice Girls, Simon Fuller. Have they tried to mould you in any way, though, if people ask you to do things to change the way you look or speak or behave?
Yeah, one of them tried to mold me into a big triangle shape, and I went, no. Nah, you know, I've got my own style.
You know, but I mean, seeing that you're getting into, like, you know, explaining about where your rhymes are coming from now, like the evils, you know what I'm saying? You get into some mad deep, you know, interpersonal relationship type of activity, you know what I'm saying? But are people ready for that, do you think, on the real, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because, you know, I mean, a lot of people go through it, you know what I mean? That money divides us, you know, I mean, even your closest friend could become your enemy over that, on that eye on the dollar bill, you know, that evil, the evils, the devils, you know what I mean?
I like to hear that, because there's a bunch of devil worshippers in Hollywood. And there's a lot of black of them,
Our third story in the countdown, while Paramount Pictures wonders if it can overcome Tom Cruise's adherence to Scientology at the box office, The Faith is set to open up its own super center where believers can hone their superpowers in beautiful downtown Clearwater, Florida. The 57 Perceptics, described by founder L. Ron Hubbard, will be brought out by use of machines including an anti-gravity simulator and something with a gyroscope. So Mr. Cruise has a place to improve his gravity, his compass direction, and especially the saline content of self.
Many celebrities swear by Scientology. There's John, Juliet, Jenna, and Jason, Kirsty, Leah, and Sophia. Not the king, but his wife and daughter, Beck and Bart.
Is this a book report or a witch hunt?
Well, the actor's doing his voice. And it is no coincidence.
We were put under incredible duress, actually, to recruit celebrities.
In my mission to find out if Cruise is in control or out of control, I met former Scientologist Karen Presley. She says she used to work full-time at the church's exclusive celebrity center in Hollywood. Her job, she says, recruiting the stars.
Was there a list? Actually, there was. Young actors that were really making it in film at the time, I think, were our biggest priorities.
Tom Cruise was exactly that. It was 1985 and he was filming Top Gun. He says the church helped cure him of a learning disability. And in recent years, he's out to fix the rest of us, or at least his co-workers.
You know, you have to understand, in Hollywood, when people need help, they call me. When they're having trouble with something, they call me. Because they know that I'm the type of person.
What about Scientology do you embrace?
I was introduced through it by Tom, and I'm a student of world religion. I was raised in a Baptist household. I went to a Catholic school. But the ideas of the Bible are 98% the same ideas of Scientology. 98% the same ideas of Hinduism and Buddhism.
Impassioned and serious, Will comes to the defense of his close friend Tom Cruise, whom some have criticized for his passionate stand on Scientology. And it seems like it makes you angry that people have attacked him because of what he believes.
When I sit and I talk with Tom Cruise, he is one of the greatest spirits that I've ever met. Someone who is committed to making the world better. If people knew, I get it. If you understand something, you have people who are attacking and want to fight and don't know nothing. How you gonna not know nothing about Scientology and attack somebody? It's dangerous and it's ignorant. How can I condemn someone for what they believe? And I believe that God was born from a pregnant virgin.
What do you know about it, though? Is that something that, I mean, I used to read about that stuff when I was incarcerated. Right, that's what it seems like a lot of people put up there now. Yeah, the Illuminati, the Freemasons. I used to read about this stuff, you know, and for the most part, they do exist. You know, and it's been around for thousands of years. Freemasons built this country, that's a fact. You gotta understand, if they are a part of it, they're never going to admit it anyway.
People out here want to know on the song Freemason, was that a Masonic song for the brothers out here?
It was just a record that was for people who understood it, you know what I'm saying, and love music at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Are you a Mason?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, are you a Mason?
No.
Okay, thank you.
They heard screaming and stuff like that, but I don't know, nobody couldn't help, nobody couldn't do anything. This is what upset me.
That they didn't kick down the door?
That's the thing.
A Brooklyn actor was arrested for killing his mom on Tuesday morning, and cops say he used a sword to do it.
They didn't kick down the door. Somebody could have did something. The cops came and they didn't do anything. They didn't do nothing. She could have been alive right now.
55-year-old Yannick Bray was found in her apartment at 501 Park Place in Brooklyn at 2 a.m. Cops say her son, Michael, an actor, stabbed her to death with a sword he received in a Masonic ceremony. Police took Bray, who's appeared on such TV shows as Ugly Betty, to Kings County Hospital for psychiatric evaluation. This is Brian Stillman with the New York Post.
Police in New York say an aspiring actor who once appeared on the show Ugly Betty is undergoing a psychological evaluation following a brutal attack on his mother. 31-year-old Michael Bria is shown here on his Facebook page. Authorities say officers were responding to a 911 call early Tuesday morning when they found Bria with a large sword inside a blood-splattered bedroom.
It's not someone that you can look and say, well, it's a monster walking the road, or someone who want to flip any time. It's not like that.
His mother, 55-year-old Yannick Bria, was kneeling in the bathroom with substantial cuts to her head. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Family members and neighbors say they're struggling to understand what went wrong.
Shock is an understatement for something like this, you know, an understatement. Out of character. It even seemed like an out-of-body experience.
One neighbor told WABC that before the police arrived, he heard the victim let out a horrific scream, and he says it sounded like her son was chanting.
Like Jerusalem, Jesus, Aaron. Then the last line I caught from him was the greatest architect of the universe.
Police say there was no previous domestic violence incidents at the home, and Michael Bria had no previous arrests. Authorities weren't sure at the time if the actor had a psychiatric history. Ross Simpson, The Associated Press.
Do actors really sell their soul for fame? Okay, that's a two-part question. First of all, most actors that go to Hollywood sell their soul because they want to be famous. Okay, now what does that mean, to sell your soul? It means to compromise. It means to side with evil because you're not siding with God. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of actors in Hollywood that call themselves Christians, and some of them are, okay? But in order to adhere, to conform to the rules of, quote, Hollywood, you're going to not side with God, and you're going to automatically side with the devil, because that's the system in which that Hollywood operates. Now, that's one side of it. So that basically everybody sells their soul when they go to Hollywood because they want to be loved. It's a very carnal business, okay? The other side gets a little deeper. It gets a little more complex, okay? You have major stars that you've heard about in the news and you've seen on television and film. They truly are Satan worshipers. They truly have not only sold their soul to Satan, but they've merged their soul to the satanic rituals that you find in Hollywood. And by the way, satanic rituals they have all across the country and the world. So two parts. One is everyone sells their soul if they're not on the side of God. The other one is the other avenue is not only do these people sell their soul, they merge their soul to the devil himself and participate in the satanic ritual abuse. Is there any truth to program multiples in Hollywood? The answer is absolutely. Why is that? Because there's program multiples everywhere, okay? in churches in Hollywood and Middle America. They're everywhere. Now, the agenda of a program multiple, or not, it's not a program multiple's agenda, it's the person who programmed them, which is usually involved in the satanic church, is to further the devil's cause, okay? Now, the reason that program multiples exist in Hollywood is because the camera is a very powerful tool, that if you can get it on camera, it goes out to millions of people and they can see it. The Hollywood agenda. The number one agenda is to get as many people to continue on the road to hell as possible. Now, the second agenda, and I'm not going to call this agenda, I'm going to call it a tactic to send everyone to hell, is to destroy the family. If Hollywood can get to the family, which they've done very successfully, you take out the father, which they've done, then you start working on the children, and then you got a big mess. And so they've destroyed the family the past 20, 30, 40 years in Hollywood. The final blow is going to be to get to the children. And if you look at places like Disney, Nickelodeon, even Netflix, they peddle child pornography and pedophilia. They're definitely getting to the minds of children. The reason is because they're hitting young minds, and they want young minds to believe this is the way life is. And if this is the way life is, it's probably the way God wants it by design. And so that's, it's like if you have a film where everybody's cussing, where everybody's smoking dope, you grow up thinking this is what people do, and this is acceptable, and this is, it's all about numbing down and dumbing down the young generation so that when they grow up, they do not have the tools to discern. Hollywood discriminates against true Christians, okay? Not the counterfeit and religious Christians, which is most of the Christians in Hollywood, okay? They don't discriminate against the fake religion, because the fake religion actually helps promote the devil's agenda. Who they do discriminate against are the people that are telling the truth. But let me say something to you, and I say it humbly. They can't discriminate against the true child of God, because the true child of God has the power of God in them. So what happens in Hollywood, I've seen Satan run in fear of the true child of God, okay? So forget about them discriminating. They're scared to death. Doesn't mean they wouldn't want to take you out. So discrimination, I don't believe, really comes with people that actually tell the truth. The old Hollywood, like guys I worked with, like Martin Landau and Tony Curtis, and some of these guys, they still had a consciousness and a respect for faith. They were still tapped into the Judeo-Christian system. Okay. There was a lot of movies that came out during their times. Ben-Hur, The Ten Commandments, still was about the Jews, what the Jews went through. The Old Testament. Nowadays, the younger actors, they don't have a clue about that. It's almost like they're soulless. It's almost like they have no spirit. I look into their eyes and I don't see anybody. Nobody's home. Why is that? Because through the generations, the young people, the young actors, have been fed counterfeit. They've been fed lies, and so they don't even know what the truth is. So they're walking around almost like zombies.
I found when I was a 16-year-old, fresh from boarding school, going out into, on the casting couch, I was definitely objectified to an extreme. And when I
was it the way you were made to feel, or the way you were treated?
The way I was made to feel, the way I was exploited, and the kinds of roles and the kinds of things I was expected to do in auditions. I mean, there was one horrific incident where I went back for a second audition. It was a screen test. There were two other people in the room, the director, who I'd seen previously, and the casting director, who is a woman, and the director asked me to sit with my legs apart. The camera was right between, positioned where it could see up my skirt, to put my leg over the arm of the chair, and before I started my dialogue, think about the character that I was supposed to be having the dialogue with, and how it felt to be made love to by this person.
Presenting in this year's Oscars,
yeah.
Do you feel that we should be holding studios more accountable versus the
Absolutely.
Academy?
It has nothing to do with the Academy. The Academy is an end result of all of it. Yeah, let's talk to the studios. Let's talk to people who are producing, writing, casting. That's where the problem lies, if there's a problem.
Right. And do you think any solutions that you would have for insight on how we could make these strides to make that change?
Back in the 70s, I think it was, the industry decided that we have to exercise more open casting, and they did. And that has gone on. Movies, how many movies get made a year, you think? Not that many, really.
Right.
You know. Television, you want to know if there is diversity in front of the camera? Look at television. Behind the camera, look at television. I don't know why we want to attack Hollywood. Hollywood isn't the end of it. Hollywood is not the entertainment industry. It's just Hollywood. The entertainment industry includes all of what we see in terms of entertainment. I don't think we have a real argument here.
Can we keep this up?
What do you think?
Oh, well, they're telling me to wrap it up right now.
Okay, wrap it up, but tell me.
I personally feel that we should hold the studios more accountable for the lack of casting and even just the business aspect of it, the people in marketing.
And get on with what you tried to get on with in the first place. A place like this can humiliate you. Mm-hmm. And it can humiliate you, it can be humbling. I mean, it does rip your life to pieces.
Does it?
If you'll let it.
Yeah.
And it's always pounding at the walls.
Yeah.
These little guys, these little heathens with no soul downstairs with horns on their head with a battering ram trying to beat your walls in.
Yeah.